is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dub. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
Well, that is a wrap. JJ Wang, the 2024-2025 NFL season sort of went out with a fizzle. The Eagles pretty much steamrolled the Chiefs, which on paper they should have. The score will show an 18-point difference when really, I mean, it was pretty much 40-10, but those are just some lucky long bomb to worthy kind of deal with garbage time kind of stuff. Good for my I did win my DraftKings contest, so got a little bit there, but otherwise, yeah. What were your thoughts on the Super Bowl?
Um, definitely didn't go his way as planned, but I'm kind of glad the Chiefs got beat up that way. I'm not really that upset. Uh, this happens in the Super Bowl sometimes. I mean, I don't go into the Super Bowl thinking everything's going to be a close game, but I mean, honestly, I kind of enjoyed it. I kind of like the Chiefs. I'm watching the Chiefs get beat up once. So
Yeah, I got my I was talking to my brother yesterday, and he's like, it's kind of cool to see Saquon win a title. He didn't have a spectacular game, but he had a good enough game. It was the Jalen Hurts show, and basically, I mean, shouldn't the MVP have been that Eagles defense? They just steamrolled Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs for the most part. They looked freaking awesome.
yeah, defense looked good. I mean, they made some big plays. I mean, I feel like they made some big plays as a unit. Like everybody was, I feel like everybody had a play. I know that one guy had 2.5 sacks. I don't necessarily know that's enough to warrant MVP, but I mean, as a unit, sure.
Yeah,
But I mean, as a player, I think Hurts played pretty well.
I
And then
feel
if
it. Yeah.
and if the quarterback plays any bit of decent, I mean, they're going to be the MVP. But yeah, I think the defense is why they won the game. But I mean, I think Hurts played well. The fact that Saquon didn't play good at all, I mean, that's kind of disappointing.
Chris Jones basically said he wasn't going to. Like, they're like, so chances of Saquon getting, he's like, nope, not happening. I was like, cool, that's how it rolls. I mean, he still played well enough, broke off that one good one that helped his average some, but it was cool to see. I like parity. I think that's one of the reasons. Like, I have no problem with either team, but I like the parody of the NFL, which is what makes it fun. Like, realistically, right now, if I had $100 and you said bet on a baseball team, if I didn't bet on the Dodgers, I'd be stupid. Like, it would be truly gambling because based with what they've done, baseball doesn't seem to have any. I mean, the Yankees, the Dodgers, a couple of those teams will always be in there. Basketball, I don't even know anymore who's good. I mean, the Cavaliers are good apparently. So I've lost. I would like basketball again in a couple of years. LeBron will be done soon. So did I tell you all on air here that the other week when Chad talked about our boy Jacques loving LeBron, that was totally a prank on him and just led to fantasy fun chatter down our message board. Like, Pastor Jacques is the least LeBron fan on the face of the earth, to the point that in our chat, if you capitalize the name LeBron James, you were punished. It's nice to know we are part of the prank war of the Kickers Are People 2 League, just to have a little bit of fun with that. So, if you had to say right now, we're middle of February, what team going into next year? If you had to right now pick a team, they said you got $100, you can bet on any team to be Super Bowl champ in 2026. Who is it at this point?
Yeah, I guess you still got to go to the Eagles. I mean, pretty much bringing everybody back. I know it's hard to go back to back in the NFL, but I mean, I feel like they're clearly the best team. Their core is coming back. So I'd probably right now say the Eagles. I mean, I don't want to say that. I mean, there's other teams I'd like to see win, but I mean, if I was going to bet, I mean, I guess it would be them.
If I zagged, I might go Bills. I don't know.
I
Like,
mean,
I
I
think
like
I
the
think they
Bills
got a
too,
one.
but
They're one or two moves away.
the Bills have let me down a lot of years. I'd rather go with the team that's not been such a letdown. I feel like, I mean, over the last few years, I mean, you can't tell me that the Bills haven't been a letdown.
Oh, true, true. Yeah, I'm with you there. I think it's interesting. Super Bowl really showed what we thought the Chiefs were, to be honest. Like, and they were not the Chiefs of old going in. So, anyway, let's jump into this. Is a fantasy football show. Real football doesn't matter in fantasy football because you can be the worst team in the league, but you're a great fan. I mean, Steven Jackson was great for a decade, great player, and that Rams team was terrible until he left. Is he the Don Mattingly of football? I just thought about that. They were great before, great afterwards. The poor guy.
Yeah, I mean, he
He is.
he definitely went through some lean years, but like I said, he was always productive.
Oh, he was
So
so good.
kudos
Just
to him.
automatically. It's
Yeah.
kind of funny. So today's podcast is called DJ Does Excitement and Questions Moving Forward. I'm going to name a couple guys that I'm super excited for, and I just want to talk about a couple guys I'm middling on, and I'm curious what your thoughts are and where we think they're going to fall. And just for anybody who's listening during the offseason, I mean, the offseason air quotes, there is no offseason if you are a diehard fantasy fan. You might be getting excited for redraft leagues, but we are dynasty guys. So a lot of our thoughts where we go with this come within the dynasty realm. Like, who are we wanting to build our team with? If you're in a rebuild, you're wanting to get younger guys and draft picks. If you're in a competitive nature, you can go with some older guys building around, but you don't want to be a team that's all old guys that dies all of a sudden. It's about balance in the dynasty league that you got to look at, and you can trade all off season. I've had some trades. I've had some trade offers come, nothing accepted yet because nothing has really grabbed me yet. But I'm gonna name some guys. We'll look at what they did this year, why I'm excited for them, and what we think to expect, or what the ceiling is, or even what we might give up for them if we would. The first is my man crush running back. I've talked about him enough. We don't talk about him too much, but we just know that Bucky Irving came out. We underestimated him. He killed it. 1,122 yards, 8 touchdowns, took Tampa by storm, made Baker look great, made Tampa look great. They it was just stellar. His work ethic is why I've got a man crush on Bucky Irving. What really the question is, I guess, everybody knows he's awesome. What percentage that he finishes a top five back next year?
So what did he finish this year?
Uh, 1,122 and 8 yards. He's got to be high. I don't have the run. Let's see. I'll look up fantasy player.
I mean, I think he's just. I don't know. I think he's. I guess he can, but I just don't know if. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get there. I don't know if he's quite the Jameer Gibbs type. Um, So I mean, top 12, sure. But I think his ceiling is right here where he's at. It's tough to say, but see, I think his ceiling is right here where it's at. 207 carries. I mean, he averages almost 6 yards a carry. So I mean, I think 1,100 yards. I think that's about the most yards he's going to gain. Is receiving. Yeah, almost 400 yards receiving. Maybe a few more catches, but I think this is probably where he caps out at. I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm not going to go into next year thinking he's going to be 1,700 yards and a boatload of catches. Maybe a few more rushing yards, maybe, but I mean, he averaged 6 yards a carry, so that's probably going to come
Uh-oh.
down.
HN.
That's probably going to come down a little bit. So he's going to need more carries. I don't know if Bucky Irving is the type that's going to get 250, 275, something like that.
So he was RB 14 and half PPR this year, behind the likes of like Chase Brown, Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon or Bucky Irving next year?
Oh, I'll definitely have Bucky Irving.
Chase Brown,
I think I'll go Bucky Irving.
James Conner.
Uh, I mean, for next year, I mean, I think for
It's close. That's what we're getting.
I'll probably still go Bucky Irving.
Kamara.
I feel like the wheels have got to fall off Kamara at some point. I think like, but maybe Bucky Irving's the new Kamara. Maybe not as good. It's like
You got him top 10.
Kamara,
That's top 10 right there.
Kamara light. So yeah, I think he's definitely a top 12 running back, but I don't know if he can reach say like top six.
What what draft pick would you trade for him?
I'd probably give up anything probably after the 106 maybe. If I need a running back, I think he's going to produce. I'd probably give up the 106.
Wide receiver trade comp. Who would you give up for him if you were stacked at wide receiver?
Oh, man, that's a tough one without
So we're looking. Would you give up a top 12 receiver? A top 12? I mean, he's a running back, living, breathing top 12 running back. Does he fall into like top 12 receiver like Lad
I
McConkey?
I would probably rather have. Oh, that's a good. I'd probably keep McConkey. Maybe if it's an older top 12 receiver.
Mike Evans on the same team.
Oh, that's a good one too. That's a toss up. I mean, I could go either way there. But yeah, Mike Evans is the type of guy that I'd be looking to trade for Bucky Irving.
I'd give away Devontae Adams probably for him.
Oh,
I,
I would definitely do that.
I don't know where he's going to be next year. That should have been one of my questions. He'll show up in the offseason. The other guy that I became infatuated with this year, who came out of the woodworks, we talked about a little bit the other week, is Jamison Williams. He ended up wide receiver 19, half PPR for the year. He was really pretty much, I think he was the Laporta killer for the year. The dude ran away with, what do you have this year? 1,001 yards, 7 touchdowns. So if he was wide receiver, what did I have? 19 there last year. Can he, in that offense, be top 12? I mean, luckily the people in front of him were looking at AJ Brown, who was 18. Wow. T. Higgins, DJ Moore, Judy, Adams, Sutton, McConkey, Garrett Wilson, those Mike Evans, those kind of guys.
I guess he could. I think it's going to have to come on the back of a lot of touchdowns. I don't think he's still maybe if you count Laporta, maybe the third option on the team. It's been a report about Laporta bounces back. Top 12 is tough. I think he would have. I think we'd have to get up to like 12, 13, double digit touchdowns like that. But I mean I see him probably right outside the top 12.
I think the Lions are going to be the toughest team to figure out in the offseason because they lost all their coaches. So we're going to have that talent there. People are going to want to come play with them. I mean, everybody's pretty much coming back except for the offensive coordinator. He got the job in which one did he? They both got crappy jobs, in my opinion. Was he Chicago? I think he got Chicago.
And then I think, and then Aaron
Aaron Glenn
Glenn,
went to the Jets. I just lost. I
Jets.
could not think of the OC's name right now. It's losing me. Glenn went to the. Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see. Like it's gonna be, we're gonna be excited for the Lions, but we could find out the coaching scheme was just so great that they fell in there, and Dan Campbell was just a good leader who picks leaders to support him. So it'll be interesting. I mean, James Williams did have 17 yards of reception, a little bit over that. I mean, not as good as his rookie year. His rookie year, do you know what his receiving average was? It was amazing.
Probably over 20, I guess, I'm guessing.
41 yards per reception
Oh yeah, that's a
because he
lot.
had one for 41 yards.
Oh
So
yeah.
it'll be a good stat forever.
Good
But
talk.
his yards per, but he did have 58 catches. I think if he can get himself up to 80 catches, he could flirt there, throw it. Even 80 catches. I mean, he got 1,000 yards. I mean, 80 catches, 1,200 yards, and get 8 touchdowns, and that's probably flirting pretty close to the top 12. Are you as excited for JMO as I am, or is it just that I've been waiting for him for a while and I love the Lions?
I mean, I don't know if I'm excited as you are. I mean, I'm not necessarily in love with the Lions. But I mean, I like him. I'm not excited for him. If I had a chance to get him, I'd probably grab him. Like I said, I'd rather have Jamison Williams than than Bucky Irving. You know, probably
Oh, really?
yeah. I think I'd probably because I mean Jamison Williams so much younger. Running backs just kind of scare me. So I mean, if Jamison Williams is doing this, I feel like this is probably his floor. So I mean, I
Yeah.
think there's more of a ceiling here with Jamison Williams. But I feel like if I need a running back, of course I'm going to take Bucky Irving, but I mean, I'd probably rather have Jamison Williams.
But that does fall into we're in strategy time too, thinking about your roster, how you're going to form it. Like I have a team that has Jameer Gibbs and Bijan Robinson, spectacular, but that's it. And I got a bunch of stud receivers, so I will have to, take some of my receivers, trade down, like draft back, like trade back, give away a little bit of a better receiver to get a running back because Bijan or Jameer Gibbs goes down, I am toast. I think it's like Cam Akers and Zamir White. It's bad. Luckily, I have the 110, which is should be like a second tier running back in a super flex or someone that might have a chance. Yeah, I think that's something you got to think of also for guys like on face value. Yeah, I like Jameson, Bucky Irving. Him, they probably wouldn't be too far because I mean Bucky Irving is a rookie. Jameson's in year 4, so Bucky will have like three or four more years where he could play like this. Jameson at what was he 24 now? Is he finally 20? Was he a young guy or an old guy? Yeah, he'll be 24 come the season. So still he's still got about 6 years. So yeah, I think in big schemes, you always want a receiver in dynasty. You build your receivers, build your quarterbacks, and then poke in your running backs, right? It's
Yeah, that's pretty much how I operate. I mean, I don't win a lot, so I'm not
maybe
necessarily
we're
sure
wrong.
it's the
Maybe we
right
have the wrong
process.
receivers. we did vest in Evan Ingram this year, and he just kicked us in the butt. And CD Lamb, who decided he doesn't want to play football anymore. Throwing CD Lamb out just a quick hit. He wasn't on my list, but where does CD fall next year? Like drafting, and where do you think he finishes? Is he did he die this year, or is it
I
for?
don't think he died. I mean, I think that team. I mean, he did have terrible quarterback play. So, I mean, I think that hurts a little bit. Um, I think he bounced. I think he's still hovering around, 5, 6, 7 when Dak comes back. So, I mean, he might not be in contention for that number one spot. But I mean, I still think he's going to be a solid wide receiver, a really good wide receiver one.
Crazy to think CD Lamb had what we considered a not great year. He was the number 8 receiver with 1,194
Yep.
yards and 6 touchdowns, and he didn't play what the last three. December 22nd was his last game. So and then he just sort of set out the rest of the year. So that was it's kind of interesting to think. That was 15 games. He had 1,200 yards. So yeah, I think it's where would you draft him? Would you draft him? We got Jamar Chase. I think is won by a mile, right? And then it's an argument for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably drafted him right around, that fourth, fifth, sixth wide receiver. I mean, I'm a CD fan, a CD
Yeah,
fan, Lamb fan. So I
say that 10
mean,
times fast.
yeah. So I mean, if I want to go quarterback or wide receiver first, I'm still going to take him, fourth, fifth, or sixth wide receiver. So I mean, I don't think much has changed. I mean, he was playing with the scrub team last year.
They are pretty terrible. So yeah, that wasn't even one of my guys. The next guy is one of your boys, Jerry Judy. I'm quasi on the Judy train. He did all of this year with a terrible, terrible quarterbacking play. 1,229 didn't have the touchdown. So Jerry Judy is he? Would you rather have Judy, who will be entering his age 26 year, or Jamison Williams?
I think there's more of a ceiling with Jameson. I think there's more touchdown opportunity with Jameson Williams. I can see him probably maybe Judy get me a few more yards here and there. But I think I think they're relatively close in yards, but I think Jameson Williams has more of a touchdown upside. I don't think Jerry Judy's going to be a touchdown guy. Probably I'm not calling him. I already forgot his name. Um,
Oh gosh, is he like Drake London? He's getting that. Oh,
from Julio Jones, and
Julio Jones. Thank you. Yes.
you could be like Julio Jones, where he can never get over the hump. And I'm not calling him Julio Jones by any
Oh
stretch
yeah,
of the means.
he was still a top 5 receiver without touchdowns.
Yeah.
Imagine if he got touchdowns.
But so I mean, I mean, if they got an offense system that comes in where they like to throw the ball, I think Judy can stay right around that 1,200 yard mark. But I think he's also going to stay right around that 4 touchdown mark. So I think the upside is with Jamison Williams right here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like Jerry Judy, he had his breakout year, and this is what, year 5 or something like that. Like took him that long to break out after being thought to be a highly touted guy out of Alabama when he hit the pros. So I think it's going to see what happens if they decide to give up on Deshaun and do something with that. I mean, they mortgage the ranch and trade up to one with because I hear Tennessee's trying to maybe not pick a quarterback first. That means they might trade down and get the ranch from somebody. Who knows to see how that'll go. But yeah, Jerry Judy's quite curious. Would you say Jerry? So if Jameson Williams were looking at like a mid wide receiver two, how far apart are Judy and Williams, or are they back to back?
I don't think they're going to be back to back. I think Williams is going to be a little higher. I think if Williams is going to be like the mid to high, I think Judy's going to be the like on the lower end. I think that's probably. I mean, with there's the upside there. Um, but I think if Williams finishes like 14, Judy's probably like 20.
Uh, Is it this year it was 15, I believe. I'm moving too much around. Now 15 for Judy and 19 for Williams. Williams didn't take off to a little bit in, and they both
Yeah,
started out kind of
I
slow. So
I think that switch is good. I think that goes the other way, honestly.
because the Browns suck.
Browns do suck, yep.
Yep. So speaking of teams that we believe overachieved and just got taken to the woodshed, Kansas City pass catchers. I guess the question is, Patrick Mahomes, was he the problem, or do you think it was just one of those years? That's the first question. Just a quick hit on that one. Was he the problem, or was it one of those years?
I don't know if it was necessarily the problem. I mean, it might have just been one of those years. I mean, he wasn't the great, but I mean, he wasn't awful. I mean, but I guess as a team, they still finished good. But like I said, it just wasn't. I think this is more of an outlier. He might not be like that number one guy that we've seen in the past, but I don't think he's not necessarily this guy either. I think he probably fits somewhere in the middle. I guess that's a kind of a weak answer.
No, no,
But
it's I think the thing is really to get to that next level, don't do you I think a quarterback needs an 1,000 yard receiver. And his biggest receiver this year was Kelsey, who I just lost all of my. Oh, my computer decided to mess with me. Kelsey, he had 97 receptions, but he only had 823 yards. And then Worthy had 638 on 59 receptions. And Rasheed Rice is going to come back. We don't. Rasheed Rice could get suspended, so we got to go into until we know otherwise. We got to assume Rasheed Rice is playing. How would you? The question. This was where the questions really hit in. Rice, Worthy, Kelsey, you're looking at dynasty moving forward. Of these guys, who are you, or what would your team need for each to have these guys? Or are you done with Kelsey? Do you think Kelsey has one more year? Is he ready for Hollywood? Where are you
I mean,
headed with him and the receivers?
I don't expect Kelsey to be like the number one guy anymore. I don't think he's not that tight end. I don't expect that. So I'm definitely not drafting him like that. Xavier Worthy, he showed flashes, especially later on in the season. So I think Xavier Worthy is kind of like Jamison Williams from Detroit, and Rice is going to kind of be like Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I think that's how it's
Ooh, I like it.
probably going to operate as long as Rice comes back, healthy, and then the suspension all takes, all gets played out. But I think at the end of the day, I think that's how it operates. I think with the addition of Rasheed Rice, I think it's going to help. So I mean, it can only help. I mean, their receivers were absolutely dreadful. I mean, if you don't have any good receivers to throw to, you don't rely on them. It's kind of hard to be a pretty good quarterback, probably.
Yeah, if Rasheed Rice can come back like he started this year,
Yeah,
103 yards, 75, 110 yards, and two touchdowns in 3 games before Mahomes took him out,
yep,
just it would be brutal to have him, and then or that would be what gets the Chiefs a third title in 4 years. Will be having
yeah.
both of those guys going. I mean, you have because Worthy's not going to be is Worthy a wide receiver three with a two potential, more or less, maybe even a wide receiver four with a two potential. Is that where we would put him?
I think right now I think he's probably a wide receiver three. I mean, I'm pretty sure I can't. There can't be 36 wide receivers that I'd probably pick over him at this point. So I think he's probably a wide receiver three territory with upsides to having wide receiver 1 weeks, not necessarily finishing the season, but I think he can have wide receiver 1 weeks, and that's pretty valuable if you're a wide receiver three.
I mean, he was wide receiver 33 this year.
Yeah,
Funny thing is, he had 638 yards in 17 games, whereas Rice had 288 in 3 games. So he had a third of his production in 3 games.
well, yeah, but Worthy's
Different,
also
different
a
game.
rookie, and it took him a while to get going. But there,
Yeah.
towards the end of the season, he had some pretty good games. He started playing pretty well.
Also, that gadget stuff's going to add some.
Yeah.
And is he going to be overdrafted and redrafted this year? Do you think?
I mean, maybe by some people. I'm sure there's some worthy fans out there that think that's going to take some of these excitement games and be drafted. I mean, shoot. I mean, there's players overdrafted every year. Why not Worthy? If you think he's going to be good, go get him, man.
Yeah, I get it. So let's see how we're doing. Okay, we got about 3 minutes for just a quick hit here. Little man Smith, who played pretty well in the Super Bowl, chances he takes over for the number one receiver role in Philadelphia because he's starting to step up. AJ Brown, he looked good in the Super Bowl, but towards the end, there seemed to be something. I don't know. Watching it, something seemed to be missing. Maybe he was reading too much. I don't know. He lost his. It looks like right about Christmas, he went to sleep because after that he had one good game, but it was a Washington game. But he didn't seem like the strong AJ Brown he usually was. He's at 1,007 yards, but Smith seems stronger, and I can't spell his name right now.
I mean, that's really crazy to say he seems stronger if you stood them beside each other.
Yeah, I know he'd be
There's
killing me.
no way anybody would ever think that. But I mean, AJ Brown, there's just phases in AJ Brown's seasons that he will just disappear for a while, and then he'll have a couple of good games and be like, "Oh, this is AJ Brown," and then I just keeps him up in that wide receiver one territory. But I think it's closer. I don't know if he's necessarily going to pass him, but I think it's close. I mean, I love Devonta Smith. I've been waiting for him to break out. I think it's going to be hard for him to break out as long as AJ Brown is on the other side because AJ Brown isn't afraid to speak his mind, and if he doesn't think he's getting the ball, I mean, he will definitely say that, "Hey, man, I want the ball." So I think that's going to hinder it a little bit, but I mean, I hope so. I mean, I think he definitely could.
I say that when AJ Brown had 200 more yards and only one less touchdown, but Smith had more. Had did he have? They had the same amount of catches.
Yeah.
No, one Smith had AJ Brown had one less catch. I'm sitting here dying looking at their nicknames. AJ Brown is known as Swole Batman, whereas Devonta Smith is Skinny Batman, Rubber Band Man, or the Slim Reaper. So I enjoy these. If you got a Pro Football Focus, everybody, it's a fun one. Okay, last one as we close out here. Came up over the weekend. Lad McConkey got. We've admitted we were wrong, but then again, there's been guys that have had these rookie kind of years and then just kaputs. I can't even think of his name right now. He played for the Buccaneers about a decade ago, or maybe not that much. Had a stellar rookie year, and then he went. And it happens every now with a bunch of guys every now and then.
What was the guy from Florida State that played for Carolina? The
Kellen
Kelvin
Benjamin,
Kelvin Benjamin. He killed it his rookie year. Like, oh yeah, this guy's going to be money. And then we never heard from Kelvin Benjamin again.
yeah, it's so it was. So the reason I ask about him is that um over the weekend, Tyreek Hill made mention to keep an eye out for San Diego. Would Tyreek Hill going to San Diego hurt McConkey, or would that be actually a good thing for McConkey?
I think it would probably be as far as numbers go. I think it would help McConkey, and then it might hurt Tyreek Hill. I think you take Hill in there, it's going to take a lot of the coverage off of McConkey. Is going to open him up a lot underneath. So I think you could actually help him. I mean, it would make McConkey not the number one guy because I don't think McConkey's a number one guy. With somebody with Tyreek Hill's name on the other side, Tyreek Hill may not be the same Tyreek Hill, but I mean, maybe he is. But in that offense, I think it's going to be a little different. Oh, and he did sign up the race no allows the Olympic sprinter. I think he's going to get dusted, but okay.
That'll
But
be
that's
fun.
a fun fact. But yeah, I think it could help him. I mean, I'm not a huge McConkey fan, but I think it could help him. I mean, he was good.
McConkey, I never realized how good his year was. Like,
Yeah,
because he did in a couple games, he had some duds, but he had 82 for 11, 49, and seven
yeah,
touchdowns.
really
So, I mean,
good.
but I think the pressure off because I think he could be. He's probably if we had a regression candidate, he'd be right up there at the top. Because they'll start keying in on the second on the sophomore receiver, a la what they did to CG Stroud as a quarterback and so forth. But putting Reek there would help, and I think Tyreek will just break his leg as he's trying to run away anyway. Anyway, we'll see what happens as that goes. When's that race? Do you know?
I'm not really sure.
Okay, well, those are some of my curiosities, some of my loves. JJ Wang's going to bring out his expertise next week as we start looking at some of the rookies going in and some other players going into this offseason. Or I say offseason, I shouldn't say it because there's never an offseason in the NFL. It's just time to retool, reload your toolbox, get ready for the next year. JJ Wang, give us some wisdom and let's go away.
Yeah, speaking of next week, I don't think you're necessarily going to be in love with the rookie class starting. I think it's going to take a while to find some guys that you like. I
So I'm
mean, there's
gathering.
a few guys, but I mean, overall, it doesn't seem exciting. I think if you dive into it a little bit, you're going to find some guys that you like. It's going to be. I don't think this draft year is going to be as fun as it is in the past. Like, because I don't think the excitement level for the players are going to be there. So, but yeah, just give it time. I think those are a few guys that'll be able to grow on you. So, as always, trust yourself and trust the process.